All right, it's OTB AM, and it is the lockdown lowdown for you. A few pieces that myself and Owen and the crew have been picking out from around the interweb over the last few days. Here is Mark Ward, the former Meath footballer. He's in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, I think at the minute. Pennsylvania it is. Surely not. Not from this distance. Boom! What an effort.
I definitely appreciate the people who were like doing the long build up before the effort at the moment. So they come out and they solo all the way to the camera. So I'm not sure if it's a situation where they're like, this is definitely not take 20, or they're trying to suggest that this is take 20, but I'm going to a hell of a lot of effort every time, so you better appreciate it. Either way, absolutely sensational effort from Mark Ward there. So where's that? That's in Pennsylvania somewhere?
Pennsylvania, yeah. He was saying that there wasn't too many, obviously, GAA goalposts that he could out and have an old crack off, but like it's the percentages of actually executing what he's attempted there are so minimal. I'm really not having the idea that he just went out and that was the first take. I mean, you could have been at that for 2 weeks. Genuinely could be at it for 2 weeks trying to achieve something like that. It's incredible.
Next up, we've got an image of Kevin Kilbane, which is one of the most automatically iconic doctored images since that image of Stalin with his associate that disappeared from the photo years afterwards. It's Gary Neville standing beside Kevin Kilbane. Kevin Kilbane on England under-20 duty with Gary Neville prior to playing for Ireland. That's Great Wall of China there. And then Kilbane quote tweeting it saying, "Good job you didn't copy me on in this pic." It's what could have been the sliding doors moment of Ireland's relationship with Kevin Kilbane, photographed right there in that photograph.
Yeah, I think only that Kevin Kilbane would have, like, whatever about sliding doors, would have taken his size 10s out and kicked that door down. I looked at it to begin with and I was like, oh, what's happening here? And then you just see what a badly photoshopped job it actually is. Poor old Kev. It's a good way to wind him up at these times. We were talking to Johnny Sexton yesterday, obviously, about sort of what you get up to when you're a professional rugby player and you've a lot of time in your hands and nowhere really to go to do it. It turns out it'd be pretty sweet time to be living on a farm in the vast expanses of South Africa, which is where CJ Stander has retreated himself to, and he's been doing a bit of tackle practice and sheep dodging. Is that the official expression of what this game is called? We might take a look at it here. CJ's been out around his farm. He's been getting a bit of tackle practice in there with Sean, the South African sheep. Do you know what? My main takeaway from this on looking at it, sheep are stupid, aren't they? Like, they're not that agile. Like, your man is mind made up, right? The sheep has, if we can maybe rerun it there, the sheep has his mind made up from about 10 seconds out what area he's going to hit. And no matter where CJ Stander ends up, that sheep ain't changing his mind.
But that's a very, very harsh appraisal of sheep, I think, Adrian. I think you're undervaluing the footwork and how nimble CJ Stander is as a back row. I think you got to give him credit rather than calling the sheep tick, to be honest. And like, I think what you actually see is that they lack the aggression of something like a goat. I think goats are actually far more aggressive. Like, I'm not sure, did you see that picture of the town in Wales over the course of the last couple of days? Yes. That because everybody's inside their homes, all the goats have started to come down off the hills and into the town. That is a far more dangerous proposition. So if CJ Stander wants to ramp it up, level 1 is a sheep, then onto a ram, because of course they've got horns and can do severe damage to you if they catch you. And then goat, I would think, is actually the top level. That is the third boss. If you actually want to practice in your farm, that tends to have goats and sheep. That's just my take, but I think sheep everywhere are going to be absolutely sickened by your takedown of them this morning. They are not thick. They're actually quite smart animals and very cute as well. Underrated on the cute scale. Right, next up. Cathal Freeman at DC Freeman 11, borrowing this idea from Jay Campbell 0104 on Twitter. He said, if this tweet gets 2,000 retweets, I'll run a marathon 42 kilometers while soloing a slitter around this patch of grass. I'll set up a fundraising page before doing it. All money raised will go to the Irish Cancer Society and the HSE for PPE, which is a great initiative. And it is going to happen, I'm afraid, Cathal. I think that's, what are we on, 1.8, 1.9 retweets this morning before coming on air anyway. Might well have crossed the 2,000 mark before we actually, in the last couple of minutes. I'll check that now here. But I'm not sure, did you see the other guy who actually did the marathon in his back garden?
No.
shamefully actually tuned in for a while. 1.9 retweets, by the way, so he's almost there. Shamefully tuned in for a while to actually watch the live broadcast of him running around his garden. And I stayed for a good 10-15 minutes. It was, I don't know, there was something soothing about it. And I'm sure watching Cahill run around his back garden with a slitter will be an even better viewing experience. So you need to live stream it, Cahill. You need to get it live on YouTube. And great that all the proceeds are going to go to charity as well.
You really should have goggle boxed you watching your man doing the marathon in his back garden. Like, I can only imagine you there in your sort of semi-dotage watching this guy, this metronome going round and round, and you're sort of dozing off with your slippers on and just taking it handy.
Yeah, it's missed content opportunity. It definitely seemed easy for it. Like, he was going at a slower pace than most people who run a marathon, I would assume. Then he's also got to do the turns, and I think he was being extra careful about doing the turns because there's a lot of turns to do in a 6-meter garden if you want to run a full marathon.
You'd reverse it at some point, would you?
Well, he did reverse it in the 12-15 minutes that I was watching it anyway, but maybe I can go back and watch the full thing later on.
Yeah, you fell asleep at some point. Cavan Ladd was in touch on YouTube, and he says, in my experience, only a ram would charge at you. So I think he's saying that the sheep in that shot is actually a ram. Yeah.
Yes, sorry, yeah, that's probably correct. But like, I mean, it would be put up beyond the bounds possibility that like there could be angry sheep out there somewhere. Like, we don't know. We don't know that. But yeah,
well, they're all cute according to you all. The last piece I'm going to leave you with, we're offering this up as possibly tweeted today from yesterday. Nathan had tweeted that it was interesting to see what the FAI will do now. He says it would have been difficult to dump Mick if he had won a June playoff, but with the game not until September at the earliest, surely it's time to just press on. But the Kenny era, says the latest in support of Stephen Kenny here. But Tony Chestnut, whatever you're having yourself there, has replied with, at the start of this group, if you had offered Mick a deferred playoff match behind closed doors in the middle of a global pandemic, he'd have bitten your bloody arm off.
But maybe he absolutely would, and I think he probably would at this point if he gets the opportunity to actually manage the team again. So it's really the day. I think it's fair to say poor Mick not going to get that chance potentially.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll have plenty to play out on that one as well. I'm sure the FAI have had very little to say during the week, and that's probably the right play for now. It's 8:17 on this Friday morning. We have gave the children of Ireland the chance to ask Brian O'Driscoll whatever they wanted on the OTB Kids takeover. You remember last week, and now it's time for our second takeover. Lots of interesting names, by the way, coming on this piece over the next few weeks. Mayo legend Lee Keegan is our next guest. It's a chance for all you kids out there to ask him anything you like. To get involved, you can WhatsApp your questions on 0879 180 180. You can send in a video or a text. We'll take either. And we're encouraging you to be as ridiculous as you possibly can. The more ridiculous, the better. And we'll put those to Lee next week. So get involved, 0879 180 180.